The Dallas Stars are struggling to find their game. Pete Deboer's not thrilled. Stars fans have concerns, and so do I. And the big question is, can they turn it around before it's too late?
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome back to another week of Locked On Stars. Today, we're going to react to Pete Deboer's very short press conference following the Stars' shootout loss to the Lightning last week, because I think it perfectly encapsulates what all Stars fans are feeling over the last few weeks. Let me know your reaction in the comments below. We'll also preview tonight's game against the Minnesota Wild, the Stars closing out a 4-game homestand, and we'll play Shooting Star before we get you out of here on a Monday edition. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. And I do have to apologize to all you everydayers out there for not getting out a Friday episode. I was on a bus trip from hell. I'll make it short and sweet for you, but we were supposed to travel from Albuquerque to Odessa. The bus broke down, 8-hour delay, had to be towed back to Albuquerque. I was with our head coach in a rental car driving in the middle of the night to Odessa, got in at about 7 a.m., slept, and then had to do a game that night. So it was a wild, wild weekend. So I was unable to get out an episode. I do apologize, but we're back, and we plan to have an episode for every single day this week. So sometimes the schedule and the week can be a bit chaotic, but that's how she goes, and nothing like a little adversity. But I want to get into this press conference because it gained some traction on Thursday night following the Stars' shootout loss. Man, I thought they were going to pull that one out against the Lightning. So let's get into it, and we'll be back, and I'll give my reaction in just a moment.
Really disappointed with our effort. So I don't have much more to say than that, other than Casey DeSmith. I thought, they were harder, hungrier, heavier than us, which is inexcusable this time of year. So, we've been leaking a little bit over the last couple weeks, and, tonight I think was probably about as bad as it's been.
You've often talked about your goaltenders giving you a chance every night. What do you see when you do have DeSmith back there? Because he had won the last 6 games.
Yeah, no, he was exceptional. I mean, I felt bad that we didn't give him a better effort. For what he's done for us this year, he deserved us to give him a better effort than we gave him tonight.
Any thoughts on why that might be?
No, we'll figure it out.
I saw Rupe on the broadcast talking to the ref after he came back in with the eye.
It's fine.
An explanation on that.
No, he's fine.
Any comments on the fourth line, Oscar,
Yeah.
Steele?
Yeah, I mean, those guys gave us, I shouldn't say everyone, those guys gave us some shifts, they gave us some energy. They tried, so, but that's a short list of guys on that list.
Bischel talked about coming in and trying to disrupt
Yeah,
the momentum that they
he's
had.
on that list with those guys, but when you're talking about the fourth line and the youngest defenseman on the team, being the bright spots, that's this time of year, that's not good enough. Okay, thanks.
Well, there you go. Pete Deboer following the Stars' 3-2 shootout loss against the Lightning. Thanks to our good friends over at DLLS for that clip. He's obviously very, very agitated. He was short and sweet with a lot of his answers, and he was cutting off a few of the questions to just get through them and get out of there as quickly as possible. And I think it perfectly sums up the last week and a half of Dallas Stars hockey. And I'm happy he highlighted the fourth line, because we touched on that last week. I went on Starcastic Remarks with Ryan and his brother James, and we talked about it following the Anaheim victory. The fourth line has been Dallas's best line over the last few weeks. And he said at this time of year, that's not good enough. And we really got the same thing the very next game against Philadelphia over the weekend. on Saturday afternoon. The fourth line continued to put together good shifts, harass, forecheck hard and heavy in the offensive zone, win puck battles, and it led to a couple of goals in the contest, including one from Oscar Beck. And then, of course, Thomas Harley goes hero again in overtime to get the win. But it's the fourth line that continues to create chances, create looks, and really just give Dallas some effort and energy. That's where my main concern is right now with the Stars. The last few games I have taken in, there's just a lack of urgency, a lack of effort, it feels like, on some nights. And it's almost comforting to see Pete Deboer's not happy either, because this is the time of year when Dallas needs to be getting better and continuing to increase their level of intensity, and it's just not there. And look, injuries play a part in what is transpiring. I get that. But my main concern is right now with the Dallas Stars, a few weeks away from playoffs, is them just kind of stumbling in. I don't think that's going to be a good sign for Dallas if they're limping their way into the playoffs. I don't care if Miro comes back for game one. If the Stars do not figure out what they are or who they're going to be or how they're going to go about their business, how their identity is going to propel them, that's where I have some concerns, because they're reverting back to the first 20 games of the season. It is a chore to do anything. It's a chore to get the puck out of their own zone. It's a chore to be stable defensively. They're getting some on and off nights from Jake Ottinger, although I think he's looked okay the last couple of starts, made some big time saves. DeSmith has been just fine, but it has been a lackluster performance from their big boys up front, such as Jason Robertson, Rope Hintz. I'm not really worried about Rantanen. I don't even want to have that conversation. Let's give him like 25 games. Let's wait until he gets comfortable. I think it's too early to throw out hasty accusations about Rantanen. We've seen it before. It may not happen this year, and I know that's going to frustrate the hell out of Stars fans, and maybe something that really doesn't come to fruition until next year. And you're just going to have to accept that. It's a big transition for him. We'll get away from that for now. That's a topic for maybe another day or maybe for the offseason. We're going to give him some time. But Robertson and Rope and even guys like Jamie Benn need to start providing some of that intensity and leadership through example, because we're only seeing it from the fourth line and Thomas Harley. I am just appalled at how much Thomas Harley seems on every single night to be the only one that's sort of irritated about what's taking place on the sheet. He's just got some anger to his game. And number one, he's forcing the issue. He's not waiting for anybody else to do it. Scored 2 the other night against Philadelphia because he's making it happen. He's inserting himself into the play. He's dictating terms. He's not allowing Philly, Tampa Bay to force him into bad plays or forcing him to not be a factor. Every night, 55 is out there. He's logging huge minutes too. He played over 30 minutes the other night, played 28 again. He's just all over the place. And Dallas needs some of that mindset. And again, there's a lot of injuries that have played a part in this. But let's look at it logically. There's 2 players that are out. 2 players that are out that would be in the lineup if they were healthy. Tyler Seguin. And let's be honest, Tyler Seguin has been fantastic, but he's not the lifesaver of the Dallas Stars. Miro could be, okay? I think Miro could be. He'll clean up a lot, in my opinion. He'll certainly improve Dallas. But if he's not ready for the first 2-3 games of round 1, you're going to get ousted in a hurry the way they're playing right now. If they are going to play the way they are right now against Colorado in the first round, they won't last 5 games, ladies and gentlemen. They won't last 6 games. They maybe get 5. Seriously. They will get run out of the building against a Colorado team with or without Miro, the way they're playing. That's my huge concern. And I would hate for them to limp into the postseason. And 2, there's 12 games remaining this season. I still have optimism Dallas is going to figure it out. When you look at some of the production, some of it is just finishing. I think Dallas is still forcing it a bit. They're starting to hold their sticks a bit tighter. And they've run into some good opponents, sure. But Philadelphia, not that great. And they had to battle back in that one. It was a struggle. Only 19 shots. Power play went 0 for 4. That's not going to play, to say the least. And they're still in the mix for winning the Central. It's going to be probably impossible, but look, they're 8 points behind. They got a couple games in hand with 12 to play. You never know, but it looks like they're going to be in a crash course to meet Colorado, and they're going to not last 5 games. Let's say 6, to be nice, if this is how they're going to go about their business. And I hope they do figure it out. He said they're going to find answers, but I think that minute and a half clip perfectly encapsulates what most Stars fans are feeling. It's not playing good enough. And a lot of it feels effort-wise, stuff they can't control to some degree. And again, I hate to use this word because I think I used it last week. Sometimes they just look disinterested and they're not engaged for a full 60 minutes. And we're 70 games into this thing. Like, ew is all I can say. Ew. You're going to waste a year if they don't turn it around in a hurry. And yes, if they get Seguin back and Miro, that will help a lot of things. And maybe Miro's loss is a big factor in the way and how they're playing. I would argue that to some degree, but they still got some guys out there that can make. I mean, I know Miro is the Stars' overall best player. At least I would say that. I know a lot of you would have an argument with that. But, they still got Rope Hintz. They got Rantanen now. Harley's been great. He's filled in. They got Johnston. They got Ben. They got some guys. Duchesne, where's he sort of been? And I think he's looked okay. He's a creator, and I think that line actually has had some more positives than others. But there's some guys on this team. Look, it's a hockey team. It's not one guy that can run the show. They can have a big impact, but they need to find their game and get back into a rhythm. And again, sort of comforted by the fact that Pete Deboer was just as irritated and agitated with how the Stars are playing. And yeah, they're getting some results and they're staying in games. But man, I have concerns about the Stars in the final 12 games if this is the product we're going to get, because I don't have a lot of faith in them just flipping the switch all of a sudden because Miro comes back. It's like, okay, we're going to be the Dallas Stars again. We're going to just boat race teams. It's going to be very, very difficult, in my opinion. I hope to be wrong. I really do. Because I don't have a lot of faith right now going up against Colorado. Even with home ice, the way they're playing, they won't last 6 games. I'm telling you right now. Okay, maybe the turnaround spark can be against a completely beat up Minnesota Wild team, way more than the Dallas Stars, who are in town to finish up this 4-game road trip. Let's preview the Wild in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. We're all on the go nowadays, and sometimes it's hard to find a healthy snack. Pistachios are where it's at. Wonderful Pistachios, a complete protein providing all 9 essential amino acids, and the best part is cracking open that shell and just divulging and getting your lips on that delicious pistachio. And they have no shell, wonderful pistachios as well for that grab and go ease. So get snacking, get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Speaking of a team that's starting to actually pick up their game here over the last week or so, despite having a laundry list of injuries, is the Minnesota Wild. They've won 3 in a row. They beat LA, they beat Seattle and Buffalo, and I know a few of those teams aren't going to be playoff teams, but they're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They're still without Kaprizov. They're without Joel Erickson. They're missing Foligno. They're missing a lot of key players, but Matt Boldy has been fantastic for them. He's up to 60 points this season. He's got 23 goals. They're starting to see some production from Marco Rossi, and they have some good young talent. They went out and made some acquisitions at the trade deadline, but it feels like their season's going to come down to whether Kaprizov's going to be ready to go or not. And they, of course, have pretty much been a staple in the top 3, the Central, for most of the year until about 2 weeks ago when Colorado overtook them. And right now the Wild are pretty much just dealing with the fact they're going to be a wild card team. And if they really collapse down the stretch, like they can miss the playoffs because Calgary's right there. Vancouver is still there. Going to be tough look, but I think Minnesota's going to get in. They'll probably be the first wild card, and they're going to have to take on a Vegas team. And I don't like their chances, but that doesn't mean anything when you're playing the Dallas Stars at this point in time. Their penalty kill's atrocious again. That seems to be a theme. Their power play's all right. It's 20th. They don't score a ton, which is not a huge surprise with their injuries, but they get good goaltending on most nights between Gustafsson and Fleury. So they're going to give the Stars a tough test. They had to go out and actually recall some players too, just to have a roster really. So it'll be a game where Dallas, I hate to be this way, but should have a pretty comfortable game. Not going to say win, but they should feel comfortable and they should clearly feel like the better team, and hopefully they look that way. But that hasn't been the case over this home stretch, and I hope they go out and they close it out on a high note, because there's not a whole lot that you have to deal with. But do not be mistaken. They got Boldy, Rossi. Zuccarello's been really hot of late too. He's picking up a ton of assists and he's pitching in. They have, a really decent back end, or they got some guys like Brock Faber, of course, and some others like Jared Spurgeon, who has had his injury issues too, but he's playing recently. So they're going through it as well, a lot worse than Dallas. If Dallas pretty much had the injuries that the Minnesota Wild have, they'd probably be in a wild card spot. But like I said, lately they're pulling through. They've won 3 in a row. They got 40 wins this season, which is nothing to scoff at. So it's a team that is on a streak, and they're coming in against a Dallas team that is not playing very well. So I guess it's your quote unquote trap game here tonight at the AAC. And Dallas, I hope, will have the feeling of let's go out and bury this team early and not leave any doubt. Let's get back to our game, and maybe this can be a confidence booster for us, whether it's a fully healthy Minnesota Wild team or not. They need to find their game, find their confidence again, and it's an opportunity to do that because you have a big West Coast trip coming up. What is it, 4 games, I think, and you got to face another Edmonton team that worked you for 2 periods a few weeks ago. You got Seattle too, and Calgary, who's charging to try to make the playoffs as well. So like these games are going to be intense, and you're going to get some playoff style hockey against these opponents coming up. And Dallas has to be ready for it. If it's one thing the Stars have not brought is playoff intensity, or their game for that matter, in the last 2 weeks. And I hope it changes. And yes, they are being affected, and there's some toll on the injuries, but they have some players still, and good players have to figure it out and make it work. And yes, that is Rantanen, Rope, that is White Johnston, that is others. Can't be the fourth line to carry the Stars team. It'll be it won't be a long playoff run if Beck, Blackwell, Steele, your combination, Bork, Dodonov is going to be your best players on an every night basis. You're going to fall short very, very quickly. So again, Wild won 3 in a row. It'll be a test, that's for sure. So I'm looking forward to watching this. Of course, it's a pretty big rivalry. Unfortunately, the 2 games that they played against Minnesota, the Wild have had a ton of injuries because they just haven't been healthy all year. So it's kind of taken the luster out of some of the contests. But hey, at this point in time, who cares? It's 2 points that you can't give up. Just like Philadelphia, it was 2 points you have to have. You can't drop a point against them or Anaheim like they did to begin the homestand. So let's jump into Shooting Star. Let me know your pick as we wrap up this homestand tonight against the Wild. Your Shooting Star pick for a Monday. Drop it below, and of course, vote via the YouTube community tab. I'll share my pick in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your banking account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. When you start using Monarch, you realize just how much you're spending on maybe food deliveries, on groceries. Now you can budget smarter and save more. It's that all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, tracking spending, and even plan your long-term goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Everybody's favorite segment here on Locked On Stars, Shooting Star, for this Monday between the Dallas Stars and Minnesota Wild. A big 2 points on the line within the Central Division. And Dallas, of course, trying to win home ice advantage in the first round. They have a couple of games in hand against Colorado. I believe they have maybe one more game head-to-head. It could be wrong on that. But they have a 3-point cushion as well. So if you can pick up points against your division opponents, that will do wonders for you. And that's what the Stars have a chance to do tonight. So my Shooting Star pick, I'm going to go with Matt Duchene. I've liked his game recently. He's got a 4-game point streak, 3 straight games with an assist. He seems to be trending. Him and Granlund and Marchment, I think, are starting to find their flow. Marchment as well seems to be fighting it, but getting back on track to some degree. God, he got off to such a good start. That injury sucked because, I mean, he was going to score 30 plus this season, and I think the injury really derailed him. But he's fighting back, and I've liked the look of that line in particular. So I'm going to go with Dutchy for tonight's Shooting Star pick against the Wild. The Dallas Stars leading scorer, which is something at 34 years of age. Him and Robo are going back and forth here recently. So I'm going to go with Dutchy to get the Dallas Stars a victory tonight, have a big contest against Minnesota. So let me know yours in the comments below. Also, be sure to vote YouTube community tab. I've been trying to keep up with that without any obstacles like awful travel restrictions like we had last week. But that's the fun of working in junior hockey sometimes. I'm going to have a lot of great stories to tell in a couple of decades. But there we go. Monday night hockey at the AAC, always a good time. I look forward to watching this game for sure. I've been very underwhelmed watching Dallas lately, and I do give them some credit for hanging around in some of these games, but gosh, man, it's a chore. It is a chore. And sometimes it's a team that just feels stuck in the mud, and they don't have a way out at points. And look, they have stretches of games where you're like, okay, here we go, and then it gets shut down. Like I said, reminds me a lot of the first 25 games of the season. And when they were in January, it felt like they were getting better. Going into Four Nations, they were getting better. They came out, they were getting better, and then it just came to a halt. And maybe over a long stretch, finally Miro's absence is starting to take effect. Gosh, I hope he comes back. I really hope he comes back in time. Stars fans, I hate to say it. Y'all know I like to be pretty optimistic. The Stars team's not going anywhere against Colorado without Four. They're going to get ran around by the Avs if they don't have him. And I don't know if it'll look pretty. I think it'll be a short spring if he's not back. That's just how I feel right now. That's just how I feel. And maybe that's doomsday. But yeah. Anyways, we're going to end on that note. Sorry. But that's how we're going to do it today. It's Monday. So maybe we got the case of the Blues. Stars fans, as always, thank you so much for the love and support. Have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll be back to break it all down. Thank you for the love and support. Hit the subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Never miss an episode. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see you next episode. So long, Stars fans.